ladies and gentlemen. Today we're here with Mark Blanton. He has a YouTube channel called The Real South Africa. Now, this brother is a Black American, and he moved to South Africa, and wanted to ask him a few questions about this. And Mark, thanks for joining us on the show today.
No problem, no problem. I actually appreciate it.
Now Mark, now you left America, and this is, a lot of people that live here. We talking about Black Americans. They have a lot of excuses why they don't want to even visit any kind of African nation. Can you tell people what made you just even think about relocating to an African nation?
Well, a lot of reasons. First of all, I was one of those people. I did not know anything about Africa. I've traveled the world, plenty of jobs I had when I was in the Army and for all those years. And then I left the Army, joined the Secret Service. So I got to travel the world, pretty much everywhere. And like I said, I was one of those people. But then once I had the opportunity to come here, I actually got a chance to meet the people, got an opportunity to just walk on ground. My whole mind, my whole outlook on Africa changed.
Okay, so what was the outlook that changed?
Well, you think you have a solid idea of what South Africa or Africa in general really is. And so you just, you're on your social media, you're watching TV, you remember the things when you was younger, looking at books and things along those lines, and that's your truth. Then you get here and you kind of find out that a lot of those things aren't true. They have their challenges, but for the most part, they're the people. The people are just tremendous. And so that really, changed my outlook about South Africa in general. Yeah.
Now, you being a Black man, especially a heterosexual Black man, we are heavily under attack in this country now. Oh my God, you can't be a man anymore in this country. How are you being treated as a Black man in South Africa versus the United States?
Actually, I agree with you. In the U.S., it's kind of difficult. I remember walking around in malls. I've had my own business, so I worked when I needed to. And I would go to the mall and people would look at me like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I can afford my own stuff, but I always had these funny looks. Now here in Africa, or especially here in South Africa, because that's where I'm based, it's nothing but respect. Everything is brother. The women treat you well. The South African men, they treat you very well. They call you brother, and they do what they can to help you. I feel like I'm part of the collective when I'm here. When I'm at home, I feel like I'm kind of on my own. So, but they do, as a Black man, they treat you probably better than I've ever been treated anywhere else.
So when they found out that you are a Black American, like for the first time, what was their initial reaction to you?
It's actually pretty interesting. First of all, they just look at you like, wow, I'm so glad you're here. And I'm sure we've heard this before, but they really do watch us a lot between our media, things that come on TV. A lot of the artists, when I say artists, I mean like people who sing, people in movies. They come here routinely. Like Tevin Campbell, I think he's coming up this weekend. I think there's somebody else coming this weekend. So they see us a lot, but they see us from afar. So for them to get an opportunity to see you up close and personal and talk to you, they like how we talk. They like everything about us. So for the most part, that's why I'm always like telling people, you probably do need to just come here and just experience it for yourself. But for the most part, it's just a good thing.
Correct. So, we have, people, in the country, unfortunately, they may have a bad experience with a, African immigrant. And some people that come here, they not on a brotherly love all the time. They're on some, some of them just want to sell out and get up underneath those folks. And they want to view the whole Africa as that experience or a few experiences they had, with a person from the continent. But since you've been there, have you been rejected? Have you been told you need to go back to America? I mean, have you experienced any of that?
No, not here, especially here in South Africa. There's so many different tribes here. You got the Zulus, you got the Xhosas, you got the Vendas, and several others, and even some smaller tribes here. And the one thing that I do like about this place is that, first of all, everybody speaks English. They will as soon as they start talking to you, they might greet you in their normal tongue or the one that they are accustomed to. but they all speak English. And the moment that you don't reply, they say, oh, then they will, maybe go to another language, and then ultimately they will get to English and say, oh, how you doing, brother? And whatnot. But I've never been rejected. And one of the things I do like about Africa, and especially South Africa, they want you to understand your culture. And once you understand your culture, then or understand their culture, then you can understand them. And then they ask you tons of questions about America, where you come from. They only know a few places for the most part. They know New York because it's always on TV. They know Miami and they know California, but they don't know St. Louis. They don't know Nashville. They don't know Memphis. They don't know New Orleans. So, but as far as being rejected, I'm always, we always are invited to things, and when we get there, they always, make it to where you feel very comfortable.
Yeah, and also, I haven't been to South Africa yet. I plan on going next year. But, I've also heard that, because I've been to Ethiopia last year, just for my first experience going to Kenya in October. Are you treated a little better in South Africa than maybe some native-born South Africans?
Well, I will say, this is a new democracy. It's only been a democracy for 25 years, and they're kind of finding their way. What to do with all this? What do we do with all this freedom? What do we do with this capitalism? We have our own government. We have our own lands. We have our own cities. And so they're still trying to figure it out. And a lot of it, they are, how can I explain it? They are still trying to overcome the colonizer, so to speak. So when you say treat us better, or we get treated better, I look at it from perspective is a lot of the times they look at us as, well, you guys have been through this. What do we do? How do we get past this? What's next? And so a lot of the conversations I have, for me, they're very rudimentary, but for them, they're very serious, because this is, somebody that's 25 years old here in South Africa, they're considered or called born frees, meaning they don't know anything about oppression like apartheid and things along that line. And even those that are 50. Like I am, they only been free just for a little while, so they're still figuring it out. So they look at us a lot of times, or at least some of the conversations I have, they want to know, what is it like? What do I supposed to do? How do I treat this? What do we do next? So they do a lot of watching of what we do via all these social media platforms and movies and things, and they try to emulate it, but they don't really understand exactly what it means. So I went to the latest democracy meeting that they had just here recently. We got invited, and it was weird listening to them talk about their democracy and how they're going to shape it. And they've only been doing it for 25 years. They're doing very well, but they're very young in their democracy. So we do get it treated pretty well, because they understand that in America, we've been through a lot.
Right. So basically what you're saying is they're open to Black Americans coming there and, doing maybe different conferences or, things, teaching things like that. For instance, like I was even just thinking about doing a tour because I did a series called Decolonizing the Mind, and we really need to do a whole lot of that, especially, in the continent as well. So you're saying they will probably be open to something like that?
I'll put it to you like this. We've in America, we've benefited in a lot of ways, and some of the ways we benefited is that our parents were able to, they've been through the struggle, and even their parents, and so we were able to learn. Maybe our parents maybe didn't, wasn't the big guy on the job, but he learned some things, and he was able to pass it down to you to where you can take the baton and take it further. Here in South Africa, this current generation, the best job a parent or like a mother could get here is a domestic. So she's not passing all these things that she's ran across in corporate South Africa. They have no experience. Just normal everyday things. They just don't have those experiences. So now you got these young people who are educated in a lot of ways, but those things that they would learn at home, they're missing that. So when you say, are they interested in us, helping them along the way? The answer to that question is an emphatic yes. And we had a young lady here on a tour with us with the Real South Africa, and she's a professional. She's a motivational speaker as well. And I'm sitting with this South African young woman. It's a pretty short story, but sitting with her, and she says, "I'm mad at you Americans," and in light, but she was serious. And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She says, "Because where are you guys? We see all these Europeans come here. We see all these people come here, but we're looking for the Americans because you guys should be helping us along the way." And the way she explained it, I had to slow her down. And I said, "Hold on." I said, "Let me go get this professional who just happened to be here on a tour with us." I brought her in. They had a conversation, and it was wonderful. And she felt much better because she didn't understand, their whole freedom. They just don't understand it. It's new. So that's my
Well,
answer.
that kind of conversation floored me last year, actually. That same conversation, like I was having a conversation with two different people, and one was this one guy who owned one of the biggest paint companies in Ethiopia, and he was there just talking with me. I knew he had money the way he was dressed, but he just chopping it up with me like, like we just been knowing each other. Then he had his finance guy with him, and they was telling me, they said, "Listen, we need you guys." We said we don't want to work with the Europeans and the Chinese. We would love you guys to come here. Let's work business with you guys as Black Americans, and let's build this up. That's what everybody kept telling me. Like, where you at, and where's all the family? Bring everybody here. Like they want us there.
That is true. Even that, every country is a little different in their rules and how they do things. But here in South Africa, we've been fortunate because tourism is a space where it's a department level. It's a ministry of tourism, and we've been very fortunate because we kind of are the only Black Americans or African Americans here in Joburg doing tourism. So we've been privy to a lot of meetings. We've been called in. We went to this thing called Indaba, which is like the largest tourist expo, not expo, but tourist vendor meeting in all of Africa. And we looked around. We were literally the only African Americans there. So we got an opportunity to see what they're doing. And one of the things that they want to do, in addition to all the other initiatives that they're looking at, is they want to increase the tourism for a lot of reasons, but they understand if African Americans come here on just one visit, maybe two, because it happened to me, they would want to come here and invest, spend time, and that's what they're looking for because they want us here. With that being said, if we maybe don't go to Mexico so much and start coming this way, come to Africa, especially South Africa, because I've seen the plans. They want to relax the visa process. They want to relax everything. Whatever it's going to take to get us here, that's what they're willing to do. And like I said, I've seen the plans myself. So here we are.
Well, that's good because some people use that as an excuse. Well, they don't want to give us citizenship. Well, they don't want to give us visa. Listen, let me tell you something. A lot of African nations now are doing visa on arrival. I know they did that in Ethiopia. When I got there, and they was happy to say, "Oh, we so happy you're here," stamping my thing. So. Yeah, so but also you got to be on the ground. You got to get acclimated. You got to get to know people as well.
Exactly.
You got to spend a little time. Not just a week, but maybe try a month or 2 months if you can. What most visas they give is 90 days.
Yeah, it's 90 days as soon as you get here. All you need is this passport. You show up. You show your American passport, which is very powerful, by the way.
It is, believe it or not.
Yeah, most people don't have them. It's like one of the most important document that you have. Once you get here, it's 90 days, and that gives you a lot of time because obviously, they're going to embrace you off the top, for one. Number two, there's African Americans that are here on ground that's been here for years, and they can help, as we say down here, they can help sort you out based on what you're trying to do. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, okay, this is what I do in America. I'm a nurse, or I'm a teacher, or whatever. So I got to come here and find a teaching job. The answer to that question is, yeah, you could do that. Nobody's not stopping you. But when you get here, you'll find that there's so many other opportunities that you can do. But you got to, as I tell people all the time, when you go through customs, leave all that American stuff at home and open your eyes and just listen to what they're saying. And if you use your eyes, you can see the gaps in what they need here in this society. And you can easily, as an African American, come fill those gaps if that's what you want to do.
Right, and it, like at least on our end, there's a big need, from what I was told, for media. And they were saying that to tell their own stories and not having BBC and CNN and all these other ones telling African stories. And recently I done a story about the New York Times. They wanted a reporter in Kenya to talk about terrorism and talk about poverty and talk about all the horrible things, and they got pissed off, and rightfully so. So that's just one aspect. I mean, it's so much, like the continent is so wide open. And from America coming over there, people want to sabotage you in business. Like you say, the dirty looks you get, the racism, the calling the police on you. Now, has anybody called the police on you since you've been there?
No. It's funny. I can honestly tell you, here, they, especially on Friday night, Saturday night, because South Africans like to party. They get it in. They have their little cooler box with their drinks in it, and they're going somewhere to sit down and they're going to relax. And they do drive, and they probably be a little inebriated. And I've been pulled over several times, but I'm never nervous. I'm relaxed. The guy's just going to come up to the window. He's going to just talk to me. And you've been drinking. You've been okay. Yeah, you're good. You're cool. How you doing, brother? Because they're very they're very social people here, and they are definitely going to talk to you, even if they're the police. They're going to talk to you. And if everything's cool, they're like, all right, go ahead and get out of here. I'll talk to you later. So as far as the police are concerned, I don't feel threatened at all.
All right. So, the reason why I'm asking questions like that, because people in the audience, they hear you, in South Africa, you're Black American, you and your, wife is, running a YouTube channel. And it's just great you guys are doing that. So, what's the plan forward? Are you guys going to become citizens, or are you in the process of that, or you are citizens already? How is it, since you love it so much?
Well, like I tell everybody, if you are coming here, don't just automatically think, well, I'm going to give up my citizenship and I'm going to come move to South Africa. I wouldn't suggest that. However, if you want to come over here, under the work permit, and do that. But America is a great resource, and what do I mean by that is because the people here don't have access to America like we got access to America. We can fly in, make relationships, use the banking system, all the things that America is. We can use that. They can't access it. So to answer your question, I'm going to keep my American citizenship. I'm going to, we're here on a visa right now for an extended visa, so we can stay for an extended period of time. Worst case scenario, I will ultimately get a permanent residence. That's something that's an option for me. I can get a permanent residence, meaning that I can pretty much do everything but vote. But yeah, I can easily see myself doing it. The funny part about it is these Europeans that come down here, they have dual citizenship. They have dual citizenship in Holland, and then they got citizenship down here in South Africa, or they might have citizenship here, and they might and they keep their citizenship in Australia, or they might have a level of visa. So they know how to play it to where they can access, their home, banking system and things along that line, and then come here and absolutely do very well for themselves and enjoy themselves because it's so beautiful, so much to do. To give you the extended answer, as far as like your funds go so much further here. The exchange rate right now is $1 US equal 14 South African rands. So you can you'll be okay. Even if you just say, okay, I'm going to retire, you'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I would never give up my American citizenship. That ain't happening. I said, now I know some African nations, like I know Kenya, Rwanda, I think Tanzania, to name a few, you can do dual citizenship. That I just kind of researched, but hey, I agree with you. A permanent residency is definitely the way to go. But no, I'll never give up that blue passport. Our ancestors, fought and died for too much. But outside of definitely all of that, you say you got your tourism and everything. Now, how can people get to either your website or YouTube channel where they can get that information to possibly take a tour to South Africa?
Okay, well, it's very easy. The good is the website's called. It's very simple. It's the real South Africa .com. The real South Africa.com. Once you go there, you can find the links to all the other locations, and to include our Facebook page. We're real active on our Facebook page as well. We just want people to have the opportunity to come, because I know a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to get shots. You don't have to coming down here to South Africa. Oh, I don't want to get a visa. It's too much of a process. Coming here to South Africa, you don't need to do that. You just need a valid passport that has at least six months worth of space on it, and you can come down here and so forth. And like I said, the main reason we're called the real South Africa, because we really want to show you the real South Africa, and that doesn't always mean coming down here looking for poverty, looking for that kid with the fly on his eye. These South Africans are very proud, and as they say, they're proudly South African. And people, so sometimes we show, the nicer places and so forth. And then if you look around us, you will see South Africans, and you're like, oh, well, those just must be those people. Just maybe 2 or 3 or maybe 5 years ago were in Soweto. They were in Alexandria. They were in Cape Flats. They were in the slums, but their economy is getting better. The opportunities are getting better, and they're moving up pretty fast. So, a guy today who may be struggling today, a South African. I mean, you talk to him in 2 or 3 years from now, he might be living on a Gulf estate as well. So it is what it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to the website and the YouTube channel and
Yes.
look around, check it out, and you want to schedule a tour, contact the brother, and he can get you straight. Like I say, you're Black American, you understand where you're coming from, you can answer all your questions, because I know many of you have a lot of questions at times. So, Mark, thank you for joining us on the show today. We greatly appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, and we appreciate it as
Thank
well.
you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.